Hey, Norm.
Hey, Will.
When was the first time you built a website?
The first website I built, probably 9th grade, high school. Remember, it was not easy back then.
Were you on GeoCities? Did you use GeoCities?
I definitely had a GeoCities website.
Yep.
It was terrible. Thank goodness no one's going to ever find it. Good luck.
The good news is today building websites is easier than it's ever been before thanks to Squarespace.
Yeah, it's a service that lets you use templates and drag and drop real-time editing, tons of features, and it's really easy to get started.
You can start building your website today at squarespace.com. Enter the offer code Untitled at checkout, and you'll get 10% off Squarespace.
And you'll be supporting us. Thanks. So thanks.
Thanks, Squarespace. Build it beautiful. Welcome to Still Untitled, the Adam Savage Project. I'm Will.
I'm Adam Savage.
And I'm Norm.
And Chan.
Norm and Chan.
Norm and Chan. Okay, so we did this a few episodes ago, I know.
Yes.
When you were on tour, we had a little catch up about what we'd been doing, what you'd been doing. But you've been gone again.
I have.
As happens. And then we were gone.
There was a period of time where I was home for two 18-hour periods over a period of a month. And that was just not enough.
Like, my wife gets grumpy if I'm gone like 2 Saturdays in a row. So I can't imagine what you know.
Well, when I was gone on the tour, I think that we spent a solid 16 days apart, and that might be actually the longest my wife and I have ever spent apart. And we don't jibe well with that. We need to be around each other.
I
That's
just take
the
my
way we
girlfriend
like
with me everywhere.
It's true. Our little Yoko.
Wow.
I'm kidding. I think Yoko is probably a positive force on the Beatles.
That's a hard joke to recover from.
I know. I realized.
Will is sweating.
I love you. You realize we're fans. She's gonna kill me. I aimed away.
That is, yeah. At any rate, one of the things that I did recently was I was traveling, and then I came back, and we were up in Gold Country filming an episode.
Where is Gold? Hold on, Gold Country's like central,
about 60 miles east of Sacramento.
Okay, so in the mountains, but not like down by Yosemite further north.
No, and it was beautiful. We shot a terrific episode up there, and then that Friday we finished at around noon, and I drove from there to San Francisco and then down to Monterey to catch the tail end of the EG conference.
Ooh.
The EG conference is run by Michael Hawley. It was started by Richard Saul Wurman as a one-off, I think 9 years ago.
What does EG stand for?
Entertainment Gathering.
I assumed Evil Geniuses, but
It could be. That's
Entertainment
also
Gathering is probably
reasonable.
better.
I like both of those things. Is it kind of like, I heard it's like TED.
It's
where
a little
TED
sister for TED.
is technology, entertainment, design. This is purely the entertainment part of it.
Well, and it was started by the same guy, Richard Saul Wurman, who started TED 30 years ago now. EG's been going for 9 years. I've appeared at most of them. I've either appeared or visited most of them because at this point now, I know almost everybody there, and it's one of the places I go to see old friends that I don't get a chance to spend
like
a lot
camp.
of time with. Yeah.
So how many people show up?
It's 500 people.
Oh,
tops.
it's nice and intimate.
Very intimate. And some really radical and beautiful stuff gets exhibited. People come and do wonderful demonstrations and talks very similar to TED. I got to see a 10-year-old piano prodigy do some of the most remarkable jazz piano I've ever seen, let alone from a 10-year-old kid.
Wow.
And I took a piece that's in our stage production, a piece where I talk about learning how to juggle. And I rewrote it. I deepened it. I gave it a little more resonance than it needs in our touring show. I sort of reworked it and took a look at it and looked at ways to make it more honest and deepen it. And I performed it there as a small interstitial. Some people do 15 or 18-minute talks. This was a 5-minute little punch.
Like a amuse-bouche.
Yes. So when Michael Hawley called me up and said, do you want to come do something at EG? I said, yes, I've got this piece on juggling. I'd really love to work it and come in. I think I could make it something pretty fine. And I told him roughly what its outline was. And he said, yes, by all means, come and do it. What he did not tell me is that in the audience I would be performing for would be all of the Flying Karamazov brothers. My childhood heroes who I saw them perform Comedy of Errors at Alice Tully Hall at Lincoln Center in 1986. These guys are my gods, and they've had a revolving cast, but there are at least 2 or 3 original members who I had seen in my late teens, for Christ's sake.
When did you realize this? That they were in the audience?
The morning I was performing.
Oh, before?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
So I got up and I opened with this. Michael neglected to tell me that my childhood hero jugglers would be in the audience. I said, so let me be clear. The bit about juggling I'm about to do is about how shitty a juggler I am. And one of them yelled out, "That's our routine too."
Nice.
So
Oh, they took that from you
yes.
too.
So then I start off the bit juggling 3 beanbags, and the first beanbag I threw, I dropped. And it's largely because, and this sometimes happens, a bank of lights right in my eyes, right at the apex of where my tosses were happening. So I said, could we maybe lower the lights? And one of the Karamazov brothers yells out, "They were there for our routine." And then I realized I'm being heckled by my childhood heroes. What could be better?
That's amazing.
This is so awesome.
Did you? Okay.
So I did the piece, and it is effectively a piece about how juggling. I learned to juggle because someone gave me Juggling for the Complete Klutz.
That's how I learned to juggle too.
This is the days before the internet, so it's a fantastic book. It's a wonderful primer on solving some of the early problems that you have in juggling, and then taking you and deepening it.
But it's dead simple. It's like learn to throw an arc with 1 ball. Learn to throw an arc with 2 balls.
Well, learn to throw, catch.
Right.
Learn
Right.
that rhythm, and then yes. And then it's how that skill and the deepening of that skill taught me how to learn all my other skills. And even there's a little more of a reveal than that, but I don't have to tell the whole routine.
That is really funny because I literally I got that book and the Klutz Learn to Play the Harmonica book at the same time.
Yeah.
And I spent the 25 hours in the car driving on the family road trip tormenting my parents and sister learning to play the harmonica.
Oh my God.
By the end of that trip,
You played the
I could play Oh Susanna like a
Are
champ.
these still in publication? Can people still find these?
The Klutz books are still in museums and
became
stuff.
an entire publishing empire, but juggling was the very first one, if I remember correctly.
I'm sure. I can't imagine those aren't in public because that juggling book is a huge
Summer's
seller.
coming up. A lot of road trips, people.
So it went off really well.
That's great.
It went off. The piece went very well. I was very happy with how it came off. Immediately upon leaving the stage, one of the Karamazov brothers came over and said that was wonderful. And then the Karamazov brothers do a thing called a Chautauqua, the old time Chautauqua, which is what people don't realize is that the precursor to the TED Talk was happening in the teens and 20s all over the United States, which were these effectively traveling lecture road entertainment shows called Chautauquas.
You didn't have radio or TV to watch,
Right.
so people went out to the community hall at night and the Moose Lodge.
And it's something smaller than a circus, but larger than just a lecture series. And they
maybe
do
less
this
pretentious.
around. What's that?
Like, didn't have the stats, like, didn't need to be pretentious.
no
Right.
Kelsey Grammars.
Entertainment.
And so a bunch of their Karamazovs and other friends do a Chautauqua in the summers on the northwest, and they do it every summer for a month. And so there was a whole group of them there, and all of them are jugglers. And they kept on coming up saying, all of us as jugglers realize that the skills learning to juggle are the same, they're analogous. And they said, we've all actually talked about writing a piece like that. So it was really lovely to see how you weaved that into being a serial skill collector and how that informed, how that helped create you. And we made all sorts of plans to meet up at other points in the future to actually juggle together. So
cool.
It was stunning. I had the most wonderful time. I saw some great old friends, Eric Mead and Michael Weber and Danny Hellis, Brand Farron, wonderful, wonderful people who I only get to see once a year at these things. And
It's also like Ted, those videos and past talks that both you and Jamie have done are on their Vimeo page.
Yes.
If you go to the EG conference website, you can actually watch the videos. Some of them, like you said, Adam, 15 minutes long. There's a great one. The character actor, the guy from Groundhog Day.
Stephen Tobolowsky.
Yes. Oh my
Stephen
goodness.
Tobolowsky.
Ned the Head, Needle Hose Ned. Right.
Yes.
Watch out for that first step. It's a doozy.
He has become he's become a friend acquaintance over the years at EG, and he's a wonderful public speaker and an incredible raconteur.
He popped up someplace in something I was watching completely. Was it Daredevil? Does he pop up in Daredevil or maybe the Avengers? He popped up in something that I watched recently, and I was like, oh.
Tobolowsky is he's got a long tail. He's got many, many hidden depths, and he is, I'm not going to say remarkably intelligent, because all sorts of people are intelligent, but he's wonderful to talk to and an incredible, incredible dinner companion. If you ever get a chance.
We'll put him on the list. He's on the good list.
But Adam, because you were at EG conference this year and also traveling for work, you were unable to make it to MakerFaire this year.
This was the first year I have not made it to MakerFaire.
It's their 10th MakerFaire.
It's the first year I have not made it. And the reason I didn't make it was because I had the EG conference on Saturday. I had one day with my family on Sunday. And then I was flying off to the Bahamas, as I said in the last podcast, for a film shoot that I can't tell you about just yet.
Yeah.
I had one day with my family, and I spent that with my family. I am so sorry, MakerFaire. In fact, the next day I was at SFO early in the morning, and a guy walked up to me, and here's the conversation we had. This man walked up and he goes, "We missed you yesterday."
Oh,
And that was all he said. And I said, "I know, I'm really sorry. I had one day to spend with my family, and it's the first year I haven't made it to MakerFaire." And he said, "I made a difference." And I said, "I'll be there next year." And he said, "Fly safe." And that was the whole conversation.
That's amazing.
We had.
That's great.
It really warmed my heart. I'm very sad I didn't make it. The signing autographs for kids at MakerFaire is the talks that I do. I really enjoy doing talks at the MakerFaire, but it's that autograph line and taking pictures with kids who go, "I'm really sorry I wasn't there this year."
Maybe we'll get you to New York this fall.
But you guys went.
We went. We were there. We got a lot of people said they missed you. We saw some pretty amazing. Like, one of the things that I love about MakerFaire is that they've done a really good job in the last few years of kind of mixing up, especially the big stuff, but even the small stuff. So, for a while you'd see that mousetrap every year, and the mousetrap is great.
Yeah.
But you've seen the mousetrap run once, probably don't need to see it again.
Yeah.
This year they had a whole mess of all new big exhibitions. They had the Megabots guys, which are those, they want to make a robot fighting league of 16, 20 foot high mech warrior style robots.
May I?
Yeah, I didn't bring it.
Oh, okay. I'm going to drink this water now. Go ahead.
They let's see, what else we saw. We saw robot, like a Burning Man style robot destruction league type thing. I can't remember what that was called. You talked to those guys, Norm.
yeah, Justin Gray, Gray Works.
That's right.
But there was also a lot of good presence. Google was there to show off a lot of their Google X projects, actually. So,
oh, really?
Project Loon, which is their hot air big balloon project to spread Wi-Fi. They actually got to see that payload, how they push out that Wi-Fi.
Were they supplying Wi-Fi for?
No. But they did bring 130,000 pairs of safety glasses, which I approve of. And literally they had them in garbage bags, and they were like, "Take as many as you want. We brought enough for everybody."
So everyone at MakerFaire,
that's
you talked to a school teacher who came back with a garbage bag and loaded them up for his kids at school because they couldn't afford them.
Wow,
it was really nice. I talked to Chris DeBona at Fair Length about what they were doing there.
Yeah.
And
he's been here to the cave.
Yeah, he said he'd been over. He's a super interesting guy. I met him at Ord Camp, I guess, earlier this year.
He gave me the fire sword.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Fire sword.
Fire sword.
The let's see. The what else did we see? We saw.
I saw the thing on the mech warrior.
That's the
Megabots.
The Megabots.
Did you see my video? Yeah, see me sitting in the,
holy cow.
I got to sit in the cockpit of that thing.
Oh, man.
So their whole thing is paintballs the size of a bigger than a softball, smaller than a cantaloupe, that they're making themselves.
And you can't be anywhere near it. Or you have to be protected. Like, that'll hurt you.
So they're going to put that'll do damage.
They shot at a car.
Yes.
Yeah.
They shot at a car. Their goal is to have like a protective cage around the cockpit. So they're two men drive those. Yeah. One in the back is the driver. One in the front is the gunner. The gunner controls the two arms, which are independently aimable.
I have to do this.
And the armor around it all is styrofoam, thick styrofoam.
Yeah.
So when the paintball hits it, theoretically, it's going to make fake damage, blast paint inside the cockpit. Right. So when you get out at the end of this thing, you're going to be splattered.
Oh, yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So they want to have them walking eventually, but right now they're on treads because that's what was the available chassis.
Bipedalism is a very difficult problem to solve robotically.
Well, I think they're going to do quads just because that's a little bit easier. Yeah. But yeah, so it was pretty good.
There was I saw pictures. There was a huge Strandbeest.
We saw that last year.
A couple years ago,
right.
using the same linkage system for the legs, but the great part is that the cockpit is built out of it's designed to be a geodesic dome almost, and again, it's just like one guy who spent.
It's his Burning Man vehicle.
That's his Burning Man thing,
yeah.
and that's what he
Amazing.
brought, and was walking around. Intel was there. We saw a really cool new bicycle concept.
The Denny Next is what it's called.
The Denny bicycle.
It's expensive, right?
This is just a the one that they had was their concept, basically the one that they submitted to the
Is this
contest.
the one where pieces come off and can be used to
Yes.
lock it and change
Yes.
its
The
formation?
handlebar becomes the
Absolutely
lock. No chains.
that really
It has
remarkable piece.
an e-bike motor, so that you as an assist, not necessarily as a drive.
No chains? Is it direct drive?
belt,
belt
Belts.
drive.
Okay.
a tooth
Yeah.
belt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no grease on your pants legs, nothing to get hooked.
I bought the very first bike with a belt, which is called the Ellsworth Ride. It was given to me as a birthday present. And then my current bike, the Trek District, actually has a belt. And the first bike I had, belt was terrible. I actually I bought the chain kit and replaced it. But the Trek District belt, fantastic.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
And how do you handle gearing with that? Is there just internal gears
I
in the
have a
hub?
single speed.
Oh, okay.
I do have an internal geared hub, which I had planned to put on it, but for this neighborhood,
Haven't needed it.
in the mission here, I don't really, and from here to work and back, I don't really need anything but one speed, and it works
Gotcha.
fine. Amazingly, I didn't think a single speed was reasonable for San Francisco,
Yeah.
but it is for me.
We also chatted with some of the R2D2, the Builders Club guys, the Astromech guys, and I know you have an R2 that's an ongoing project.
Yeah.
They opened one of their R2s up, so we did a dissection anatomy. They have new control systems.
The new
which I know you've
controllers.
seen.
Oh my God.
One guy.
I've watched some of the videos of them with all the doors opening and closing.
Yeah,
and
Chris James, because it's no longer, you don't use the single
Chris
the
is the one
Spectrum.
that uses those two little joysticks.
Yes.
So he sells that system. He's
Yes.
offered it to me. I haven't decided to invest in it for my R2. but
It's
it's beautiful.
Because you have so many, like a 6-7 channel transmitter, not enough when you want to do all the panels, have different systems.
But still, for making it drive around with your hands in your pockets, it's an
Exactly,
amazing
exactly.
system.
Well, and so, but the other thing he's added is because he's doing the microcontrollers, he can capture gestures. So they'll have swipe right and up is open the top door.
Wow.
Swipe right and down is open the lower doors. It's so
puppeteering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's amazing. It was pretty cool.
How many people were there this year?
It's tough to say. We were there on Saturday. And it was cloudy. It was kind of crappy. It was great weather for us shooting because it means we didn't get super hot and
right.
sweaty. But it wasn't a pretty day. And they had parking. They shut off. They've closed all the parking lots to the public now. So in order to get there, you either have to take public transit, park at the mall,
wow.
or park in one of the shuttle lots. And they had shuttles that ran very regularly.
But
that
still, that's a fairly heavy. I mean, it's a huge strain on San Mateo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's way outgrown
Over
San
100,000
Mateo.
people off
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
This year was much better last year, getting in at 8:00 in the morning. I sat in traffic for an hour, which is 2 hours before the show opens.
Yeah.
So closing the parking lots helped that problem a lot.
Yeah.
The parking lot was open to makers and exhibitors and sponsors. And then they also ate some of the space from the parking lot and put more stuff there, which I thought was good.
Great. I will tell you that having appeared at almost all of the Maker Fairs so far, I think all of them.
Yeah.
I have been privy to intimate views of the back running of it, and the crew that runs it under the careful tutelage of Sherry Huss is an amazing production crew. The fact that they put it on, and the fact that every year that I see them, they are not tearing their heads out. Because given the scale and size,
and it's a small company.
We've got 600 people an hour going through the South Gate.
Yeah,
it's amazing. They really run an incredibly tight show.
And it's a small team. I mean, it's it's all hands at Maker Media when they do this. The people from the magazine, from the website, from the labs, all the stuff, they're all there helping. They're doing a really good job with video now. So
really?
we go and pick. I think we shot 10 videos there this year. They had.
Sorry about that. Sound is my compressor in the background.
It happens.
Yeah.
They had live streams going out, people roaming camera, wireless broadcasts, all the stuff. So.
Like a lot of all the talks, they interviewed a bunch of folks who built stuff, and it's all on YouTube and on their site now.
Do you have a specific high point?
I think
that really stood out for you.
I got to think about it for a minute.
Norm?
The R2 guys,
Yeah.
Seeing that remote control system, I mean, the way they're piloting it, when you see an R2, I instinctively look for the driver,
Yeah.
and they're able to puppet it in a way in public where you can't pick them out because their hands are in their pockets because it's just out of the corner of the eye.
I maybe should have to order that system for this guy.
You should. It's pretty neat.
It's just it's ready to go. I think I may just do that.
So I think for me,
a good project.
Put me in touch. Yeah, we should bring him in.
I'm sure he'll know after we post this.
We should do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. This is a public invite. We'll reach out to our channels.
Your R2's. I mean, people ask for art videos about your R2 a lot.
Well, no, because he's got new motors, but we've never revealed the inside of him. And I built this guy from scratch over 5 years.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing was probably the Megabot. Like, in my early 20s, sitting in Tennessee playing MechWarrior 2, I never thought in my life I'd get to climb up into a 20-foot tall killer robot
and use the same joystick.
And use the same joystick that I use at home.
Wow.
I mean, literally, this is one of those movie things. It's like the Griffin wheel, you know, that knob?
Yeah.
It's in all sorts of movies, like Pacific Rim, dozens of Griffin has a page that lists all the movies they've seen it in.
I have one of those. They're beautiful.
Yeah, it's this milled aluminum. It's really pretty. The Cytec X52 is the science fiction ship joystick of choice for Hollywood prop designers. They take it, they paint it, they put new lights on it and stuff like that. But it's the same basic cast hand and throttle. So.
Have you guys noticed over the years? You've been going to Maker Faire for 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, 7 years probably for me at this point.
Have you noticed an arc of change over those years in terms of either the projects or the people or the attendance? What kind of stuff? I mean, aside from the fact that it's getting bigger every year.
The quality, the overall quality of the work, not necessarily shown by people like Sean Thorson, who makes the Warhammer armor and has been consistently awesome all the way through. Yeah. But like the quality of the work in that big room that you probably don't get to walk around in there because I think it would be, you'd be a hazard.
Sadly, it's the problem. I don't actually get to tour Maker Faire.
But we should put you in a Stormtrooper costume so you can walk around one year. They have amazing, like the quality in that room has gone up so much in the last 10 years, both because stuff's cheaper, like batteries, radios, motors, all that stuff is much less expensive. The internet has made a lot of stuff from China more readily available. Right. And
there are people putting up the front money to have stuff produced cheaply and in large numbers so that people can use mini computers and Arduinos.
Well, and the rise of like SparkFront and Adafruit and all those, like those guys have gotten big to the point now that they're actually able to do volume buys, right? Like Adafruit is making controllers because they want those controllers to exist on a large scale, which is awesome.
And you see trends kind of rise and then find their place, like microcontrollers. Arduino, big presence, and now sits among the other microcontrollers. Right, 3D printing, big presence, and now sits among the other CNC, home desktop CNC projects. So it's not one thing. It's cool to see something get really popular, a technology, and then find its place.
Does Locksport ever have a...
They're still there. Yeah, the tool guys there are there every year.
Did you see the 3D printed Master Lock cracker?
No. Oh, that'd be cool.
Somebody's built a 3D printed... it'll crack a Master Combo Lock in like 70 seconds.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow. Does it do it by vibration or does it do it just by doing iterating?
Runs it through the paces and
wow.
It's not digital. Like it doesn't lock itself up after... X number tries.
Isn't that beautiful?
That's amazing. Google brought one of their hard drive destroying robots. So when they retire hard drives from their cloud, basically it goes through this process where they put it in, they run the firmware wiping on it, and then they put it in a shredder, and a robot does all the drive moving. So somebody at Google had programmed one of the robots to play the knife game from Aliens.
Bishop 1.0.
Bishop game.
Oh, that's great.
And they had that there in a giant, plexi box.
Yes.
Just doing the knife game on dummy hands all day.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I mean, the thing that I love about it is, so we've been to both New York Maker Faire and San Francisco Maker Faire. And New York Maker Faire has it has a little bit of a different flavor just because it's all around all the Northeast engineering colleges, right? Like there's a lot of robotic stuff. There's a lot more 3D printing stuff typically, a lot more kind of general CNC stuff, small CNC mills and stuff like that. And then the San Francisco one, a lot of the burners come in, a lot of the Burning Man folks come in and they bring their big art projects, and it's a second venue to show their work. So they both have a completely different tone. Like I like both of them a lot. Yeah. I think that they've done a good job in the last few years, at least, of actively seeking out people who who we haven't seen at this one before, because it's hard to do something like this for 10 years with this massive number of exhibitors and keep all of those exhibits fresh from year to year. And they do a really good job of that.
I'm so sorry I didn't make it. Next year, I will make it. I promise. I'll see you there next year.
We'll
don't worry about Sylvia and her picture.
We will get it. We're taking care of that as we speak. So I guess that'll do it for us this week.
I think so. Yeah. That sounds. I really wish I could have seen the R2 stuff. And holy cow, the Mech Warrior. That sounds.
That thing. Like it was. And just to be clear, it's not like an exosuit. It is a giant plodding vertical tank of the kind that absolutely is a terrible idea on a real battlefield, but is awesome for science fiction.
This is so what you're reminding me of is, just as a closer, this is something that that happened. I've said this before, that when I may have told this story on the podcast, but when I finish projects, I put them often on my bedside table, so I can live with them for a few days. And so I did this with a recent gun that I had finished, a very elaborate gun.
Something we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, I put it on the bedside table, and it was there for a couple of days. And it was like end of the night. My wife and I, we've watched whatever TV show we like to watch. I'm sitting there just answering final emails. I've got a chocolate chip cookie on my chest. Dogs are
as
sleeping
one
on
does.
the bed. And I'm eating a chocolate chip cookie, surfing the web, big gun on the bedside table. And my wife looks over and she goes, I'd like you just to take a moment and realize that you right now are 10-year-old you's freaking hero. And that it'd be nice to go back in time and tell him that shit gets pretty sweet.
It's going to work out. Oh, man.
You must have felt like that sitting in the Mech Warrior.
Pretty much every moment of every day, right? It's like,
yeah, right.
Yeah. This worked out okay.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. Yeah. Norm agrees.
Absolutely.
Norm is nodding for those just listening.
Norm's poster file, the deep file at home is filled with lost youth.
Now, I noticed that people have been talking about almost a tested podcast drinking game in which Will and I interrupt Norm and say, sorry, Norm. I'm trying to interrupt Norm less.
Oh, I was trying to get him really hammered.
Let's get him hammered out there.
All right.
Okay. We'll be back next week with more. There should be new tested premium membership stuff on the site right now.
Ooh, exciting stuff.
We should have revealed it by now, right? This is going to be...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you drew, you have these toolboxes.
I have these toolboxes that I used professionally when I worked at Industrial Light and Magic. They were the end result of 7 years of working as a model maker year round, and honing and refining the tools that I needed to be able to work as fast and efficiently as humanly possible, so that I could be completely autonomous when I sat down at a table and I could have access to these tools as quickly as possible. These toolboxes are the zenith of my engineering of how to be the fastest possible model maker. I drew an elaborate drawing of both of my toolboxes, A and B, and included a list of every single tool and part and piece that was in all of them. I think at one point I tallied it up, and it was over $10,000 worth of tools in terms of the retail cost of each one new.
And those toolboxes are so heavy you put them on screw jacks.
I put them on dollies, and they weren't on screw jacks. They were on scissor lifts that you could lift up, and then they leaf lock into place.
Got it.
So that they would stand at my desk and be at waist height, so that I didn't have to look to have access to any of my. There was a period of time, 4 years at ILM, where those things were just always on either side of me working, and I was happy. I was a very happy man.
If you Google Adam Savage Toolbox, you'll find pictures to see what we're talking about. But on the site right now, for premium members, if you sign up, you will get a screen printed copy of this drawing. It's beautiful, beautiful poster.
It's all line
Adam
art.
drew of his toolboxes with the list of all the tools. It's not only a great piece of art, but also it's useful.
Yeah.
And the only way you can get it is if you're a premium member, or you can sign up as a premium member now. If you're already a member, we'll send out an email with all the info you need to get it. If you are not, you can go to tested.com/membership and find out there. It's $40 a year to sign up. Along with the poster, you get a couple of monthly video series. Norm and I almost every month do a build week where we build something. I think the last one we did was ergonomic mechanical keyboards.
That was very cool.
We've done the Hypno Cube that's in the background of Adam's shop. We've done quads and 3D printers and all sorts of stuff. And then we also do Lego with friends or something with Lego, where we bring somebody who's interesting, friend of the site. We bring them in for 5 days and we kind of just sit around and shoot the shit while we build Lego.
Yeah.
And then there's all sorts of other stuff like the movie commentaries that we do where we ruin the movie and talk over it the entire time.
We'll be doing that again soon.
We have a couple of those ready to go. And then ton of other good stuff. So if you like the site, we appreciate your support. I think I said in one of the letters we sent out, like one person buying a premium membership generates about the same amount of revenue for the site as 40,000 people watching one video on YouTube. So, so
sign up.
Yeah, it helps. Everything helps, and we really appreciate it. So thank you guys for supporting Tested. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.